In a harrowing incident that unfolded live on social media, a young mother's life was tragically cut short. This is the story of Ranita Williams, a 27-year-old woman from Shreveport, Louisiana, whose final moments were broadcast for the world to see, highlighting the chilling intersection of domestic violence and digital exposure. On April 12, 2018, what began as an ordinary day turned into a nightmare when Ranita was taken hostage in her own home by her ex-boyfriend, 36-year-old Jonathan Robinson. The horrifying scene played out in real time during a Facebook live stream, where Robinson could be seen pacing behind Ranita as she nervously addressed the camera. Moments later, he brutally shot and killed her, while viewers across the internet watched helplessly. This video seeks to shed light on the heartbreaking circumstances that led to this tragedy, carefully unpack the events as they happened, and explore the broader implications. Through this story, we aim to raise awareness about the often overlooked warning signs of domestic abuse, the psychological toll of such violence, and the urgent need for social media accountability in real-time crises. Ranita Williams was a 27-year-old mother of three, living in Shreveport, Louisiana. Known for her warm spirit and vibrant personality, Ranita was deeply loved by her family and friends. Those close to her described her as kind, compassionate, and full of life, a woman who always carried herself with grace and cared deeply for her children. Her presence was described as uplifting, and she was often the one people turned to for support and encouragement. Her life, though marked by challenges, was centered around her children and the love she had for them. Jonathan Robinson, the man responsible for ending Ranita's life, was 36 years old at the time of the incident. He had a known criminal history and a troubling past. Robinson was Ranita's former boyfriend, and although the details of their past relationship are not fully public, it's clear that tensions and unresolved issues lingered long after their romantic involvement had ended. His violent actions on that fateful day in April 2018 not only shocked those who knew Ranita but also raised pressing questions about the dangers posed by volatile former partners and the warning signs that too often go unnoticed until it's too late. On the morning of April 12, 2018, the quiet of Ranita Williams' Shreveport home was shattered when her ex-boyfriend, Jonathan Robinson, arrived uninvited. What followed was a disturbing series of events that would soon play out not only in her home but across social media platforms in real time. An argument quickly escalated between the two. Whether triggered by jealousy, resentment, or unresolved emotional tension, the confrontation was intense enough that Ranita felt compelled to start a Facebook live stream, perhaps in an attempt to document what was happening, protect herself, or reach out for help. In the now infamous Facebook live video, Ranita appears distressed, nervously apologizing to Robinson. The reason for her apology remains unclear, but the tone suggests fear more than remorse. Behind her, Robinson paces erratically, armed and agitated. His ominous statement, "Everybody wanna be famous. I'm gonna make you famous," serves as a terrifying foreshadowing of what was to come. His words weren't just a threat, they were a declaration of intent. The live stream continued for several tense minutes before taking a horrifying turn. With viewers watching helplessly, Robinson opened fire, fatally shooting Ranita. The screen cuts off amid the chaos, but the damage had already been done. Within seconds, what had begun as a digital cry for help transformed into a public execution, witnessed by hundreds, if not thousands, of people online. Viewers immediately began calling law enforcement, prompting a swift response. But for Ranita, it was too late. Her final moments, filled with fear and desperation, were etched permanently into the memory of a nation and into the history of the internet. This was more than just a domestic dispute gone wrong. It was a tragic example of how social media can become a stage for real-life violence. The immediate aftermath of the shooting sent shockwaves through the Shreveport community and beyond. As Ranita Williams' final moments were broadcast live on Facebook, horrified viewers quickly called 911, prompting an urgent response from local law enforcement. Shreveport police arrived on the scene swiftly, only to find a tragic scene. Ranita had suffered fatal gunshot wounds, and Jonathan Robinson was still present at the residence, armed and agitated. After a tense but controlled standoff, officers were able to subdue and arrest Robinson without further incident.
Accused killer is behind bars in Shreveport after a shooting during a standoff. He is also accused of shooting a police officer who is recovering from a gunshot wound. KSLA News 12's Jeff Farrow breaks down a chain of events during a very long and, for some, emotional day.
A tragedy unfolded in Shreveport's Caddo Heights neighborhood when police say an alleged gunman, 36-year-old Jonathan Robinson, fatally shot a woman reportedly being held against her will inside a house on Natalie Street. Authorities say Robinson allegedly shot a Shreveport police officer in the wrist as well before being taken into custody.
It was more than 10. It was 10 at first. They started shooting back at each other. It was ongoing, so it was about anywhere from 20 to 30 shots.
Medics took both victims to University Health Hospital, where Caddo coroner vehicles soon arrived for the woman. As for Jonathan Robinson, officers first took him to the Shreveport City Jail. That's when they say he damaged a water pipe, causing the cell to flood with water. After that disruption, police moved him to the Caddo Correctional Center.
Come out the house! He won't come out the house!
People could be seen running away from the perimeter of the scene several times during the standoff after either hearing shots fired or a loud boom. An electrician had been on a ladder outside a house when the standoff began next door.
When I got down on the ladder, I walked around to the front, and the police told me to get back in the house and lay down. And, because it was an active shooting. And I laid there for about 30 minutes, and I kept hearing gunshots go on while I was laying down there.
Calvin Thomas says police soon got him out safely before the standoff had ended. Others grew increasingly impatient as they waited for the scene to clear to check on loved ones nearby.
His apprehension marked the beginning of a long legal process, one that would not only seek justice for Ranita but also highlight the escalating issue of domestic violence in the digital age. Following his arrest, Robinson was charged with second-degree murder for the killing of Ranita Williams. Additionally, he faced charges of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, given his prior criminal history. These charges underscored the severity of the situation. Not only had he committed a violent and premeditated act, but he had done so while knowingly violating existing legal restrictions on firearm ownership. As of the latest publicly available updates, Jonathan Robinson was being held without bond, a decision that reflected both the seriousness of his crimes and the potential danger he posed to the public. The case has drawn widespread attention due to the public nature of the crime, the involvement of social media, and the broader implications for how domestic violence is both perpetrated and witnessed in the modern era. The legal proceedings that followed focused heavily on the damning video evidence and eyewitness accounts. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of a man driven by rage and control, whose final act of violence was both deliberate and symbolic. For many, the trial represented not only a pursuit of justice for Ranita but also a wake-up call about the dangers of unchecked aggression and the power of online platforms to capture, and sometimes fail to prevent, real-world tragedies.
You know, when you just say your wife, you know your wife not strong. And you know people mess with your wife because they know she's not mentally stable. There ain't no excuse for what I did, but I done hurt her so much, and I just got tired of people hurting her. She going through mental stages, and it's like, and everybody laughing at her. And I got tired of it. I told them nobody won't laugh at you no more. I'm tired of hurting her. And ain't no excuse for what I did. I hate it, but man, I'm supposed to protect her. I'm supposed to protect her. That's my job, protect her.
Tell me what you mean by that, though.
Okay, man, the girl, we have dealings, but it's like a person know, if you know what person putting buttons and make them go over the edge and make them be suicidal and stuff, and you still do it, it's like you have no regard for her life. You know she'll go, you know she'll take all these drugs, you know she'll take all these pills and kill herself, and you want to go on social media and bash her, make her look bad, and just... I told her I'd never let nobody hurt her like that no more. I told her, no more.
What happened today?
I asked her, why you keep doing it? I asked her, I texted her, I called her, why? Stop. She wouldn't stop. I told my girl, I said, I'm going to tell her, I'm going to take care of her for you because she hurt you. And I hurt you, but she daddy won't let up and stop messing with you.
The tragic death of Ranita Williams not only marks a personal loss for her family and community, but also serves as a stark reminder of the broader societal issues surrounding domestic violence and the evolving role of social media in real-time tragedies. Ranita's case underscores the persistent and often escalating danger of domestic violence. While details surrounding her relationship with Jonathan Robinson remain limited, the events leading up to her death reflect a pattern seen in many abusive dynamics: control, intimidation, and ultimately, lethal violence. Her final act of going live on Facebook may have been a desperate attempt to protect herself or to document the threat she was facing. Unfortunately, it came too late to save her. This heartbreaking incident calls attention to the critical importance of recognizing the early warning signs of abuse: threatening behavior, emotional manipulation, isolation, and prior violent tendencies. It also points to a dire need for stronger support systems for victims, including access to safe shelters, mental health counseling, and legal protections.
Well, Dan, a small argument between the prosecution and the defense leaves the victim's family upset. The family wants the trial to get underway, but the defense says that there was no money to pay for a qualified capital lawyer.
But to stand there and for us to hear today, they don't have the manpower to represent someone. That's hard. That's hurting.
Jonathan Robinson awaits trial accused of the April 12th killing of Ranita Williams, but his trial date remains at a standstill.
And basically, Mr. Robinson's case is stuck in a limbo, and he's quite frustrated by it.
The Louisiana Public Defender Board says there is no money to pay the 3 nonprofits who defend death penalty cases. It's due to the 2016 budget cuts. The board says their budget was reduced from $5.5 million to $3.16 million.
To keep hearing that you work so hard and you pay your taxes, but they don't have the money to represent someone, what is our money going toward?
Mr. Robinson's on a waiting list. Well, he's facing the death penalty, so he doesn't need to be on a waiting list. He needs capital certified counsel.
In court, Robinson yelled out he wants his current lawyer to represent him at trial, saying, "Just let him represent me. I waive all that. Let him represent me." Bunch of nonsense.
The sad thing about it is I'm not the one that can help him. I used to do these kind of cases, but things happen between our office and the board, and they didn't want us doing it anymore, and that's fine.
The prosecution wants proof the defense has no money or a qualified capital lawyer to represent Robinson. And Jonathan Robinson will be back in court on October 30th. Back to you.
We will as well. Sarneria, thank you.
When victims feel trapped or unsupported, the consequences can be devastating. Ranita's story is one of many that highlight how urgent and life-saving domestic violence intervention and prevention resources are. What makes this case even more jarring is its public nature. In a moment of extreme vulnerability, Ranita's final minutes were shared across the world via social media. While platforms like Facebook can serve as tools for connection and awareness, they can also become stages for unimaginable violence. Robinson's decision to carry out his crime in front of a live audience was not only cruel but deeply symbolic, a display of power meant to instill fear and assert control. This raises troubling questions. How should social media platforms respond to live-streamed acts of violence? What responsibility do these companies have to detect and interrupt such broadcasts? And how are viewers, many of whom witnessed a murder in real time, affected psychologically by these events? There is growing urgency for these platforms to implement better safeguards, real-time monitoring tools, and swift response mechanisms when violence is suspected during live streams. Furthermore, There must be support available for viewers who experience trauma after witnessing such incidents online. The story of Ranita Williams is a sobering reminder of how deeply intertwined technology, violence, and accountability have become. It demands reflection not just on how we support victims of abuse, but on how we, as a society, engage with and respond to violence in the digital space. The heartbreaking story of Ranita Williams is one that lingers long after the headlines have faded. A 27-year-old mother from Shreveport, Louisiana, Ranita was known to friends and family as loving, creative, and full of life. But on April 12, 2018, her life was violently cut short in an act of senseless brutality. What made her death even more harrowing was the way it unfolded. Streamed live on Facebook for the world to witness. Ranita's ex-boyfriend, Jonathan Robinson, armed and enraged, forced his way into her home and ultimately shot her multiple times while she was broadcasting a live video. The terrifying moment was captured in real time, as viewers helplessly watched the horror unfold. Robinson was quickly apprehended, and he now faces charges including second-degree murder and illegal firearm possession. The legal process continues, but no verdict or sentence can undo the trauma inflicted or bring Ranita back. This case shines a light on several pressing issues in our society: the prevalence and dangers of domestic violence, the psychological toll of live-streamed violence, and the role of social media in both enabling and exposing real-time crimes. We must take Ranita's story as a wake-up call. Domestic abuse is not always visible, but it often escalates, sometimes with fatal consequences.
Didn't know it was going to happen. Just never shared it with nobody because I knew what I wanted in my heart and what I believed in. I didn't believe in killing nobody. I never believed in killing nobody. Not just him, nobody. Not even an enemy. So why? No, I'm glad justice has been served. Everything is gone. Everything is okay. So I feel a lot better now. Now I can rest. Now me and my family can go on with our life, you know. It's over with. It's no more. So it's nothing else to talk. The decision has been made between us and everybody else. So we feel a lot better. It hurts me. It hurts me so bad. By killing Jonathan, it's not going to bring Ranita back. None whatsoever. So decision has been made, and that's what it is.
When did the DA let you know that this would happen?
We have been talking about months. We have been talking about months. He had asked me my decision, and he gave me his decision. So at the end of the day, the decision that was made was my decision. So no one else could look at the DA, no one else, no other different. I made that decision. So that is what it is.
Did Robinson reach out to you anyway?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I never let no one know. It was privacy. Every time he reached out to me, I never let no one know. This wasn't the first time he apologized to me. It's about the third time with letters and writing. I just never let no one know what was going on with me. From this time on, it was just private. Whatever went on, it was private between me and my family. Yes, he did reach out, and I forgive him. I forgive him, but I never will forget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Be vigilant. If you or someone you know is experiencing intimidation, threats, or violence from a partner, please know that help is available. Reach out to organizations like the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE-7233 or visit thehotline.org for confidential assistance and resources. We must also hold social media platforms accountable. These companies must prioritize user safety, implement real-time monitoring of live videos, and provide immediate intervention options when violence is suspected. Ranita Williams deserved to live, to raise her children, and to thrive. Her story should never be forgotten. Let us remember her not just for the way she died, but as a call to protect the vulnerable, speak out against abuse, and demand a safer, more responsible digital world.
Even in death, Nunu Williams is opening doors. Hundreds shuffling in to hear her message.
I think she would want every female to know that domestic violence should not be tolerated in any shape, form, or fashion. And she also wants y'all to know that it's just not that easy. It don't start with abuse. It starts with love.
tragically killed by her former partner, Jonathan Robinson, Nunu leaves behind a legacy of kindness and love.
As we reflect on the tragic death of Ranita Williams, it's important to open the conversation to you, our viewers. These stories are not just about headlines. They are about real people, real lives, and the systems that either failed them or didn't exist at all. We want to hear your thoughts. What measures can be taken to prevent such tragedies? And how can social media platforms play a role in ensuring user safety? This case raises complex questions about domestic violence intervention, digital responsibility, and the role of online platforms in detecting and responding to emergencies. Should there be more robust content monitoring on live streams? Could technology be used to trigger immediate intervention in crisis situations? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're listening. If this video helped you better understand the deeper issues behind this heartbreaking event, please subscribe to the channel. We cover in-depth true crime cases and tackle the societal implications surrounding them. Your support helps us continue to produce thoughtful, informative content that brings these important issues to light. Lastly, don't forget to share this video with your friends, family, and social networks. Spreading awareness is one of the most powerful tools we have in fighting domestic violence and encouraging community support systems. Together, we can honor Ranita's memory by making sure her story leads to real change.